when you look at Palestine, it it's like when people don't see, when they look at this earth and they say, we don't look at that and say that's Palestine. We don't think that's Palestine. Then that does not mean that there is no country with people that are Palestinian, for example. For like, if I can give another example, if we were to live in another timeline, maybe we would sit there and we would look at black people and say, well, they're not humans. They are work animals or
No, but
whatever.
that's different
And
because it's just not factual, right? Because they are humans, but Palestinians didn't when I'm saying, you need to understand, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. When I'm saying Palestine didn't exist, I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. It was because that was the name of the land. There was not
mhm,
Palestinian people. Before the land was called Palestine, it was called Judea. The Roman Emperor Hadrian conquered Jerusalem, renamed Judea to Syria, Palestina, and then it was called Palestine. Palestine is not even a word that
mhm,
Arabs can pronounce. You know that you're Arab. You don't have P in
mhm,
your language. So Palestine doesn't mean really anything. It doesn't mean anything in Arabic. It doesn't mean anything to the actual people that live there now. Now there is an identity. Right now you have people that that's their national identity, and it's completely okay. But this is a new identity because before that they identified as Arabs.
mhm. Yo, what ethnicity are you?
I'm Jewish.
Actually,
Yeah, I am.
is that like on your? Okay, no, I thought your chain was like it
Star,
is. Oh yeah, it is
star.
a star.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Well, interesting. Well, I mean, that's usually cool with me as long as y'all not cool with the Zionist Jews.
What is Zionist?
Well, a Zionist Jew is just someone who's completely for the Israeli state, which is currently doing things that are not, that good.
First of all, I like your hair. Good hair.
Thanks.
What is Zionism? Do you know what Zionism is?
The way that some people define it is not actually the way it is nowadays, because
Okay.
Zionism is basically just saying we want an Israeli state. We want to have a country that is Israeli and we're Jewish people where we can find our home and all that stuff. But that is kind of the problem because that first off goes against Judaism. And second of all, it's kind of the problem that Israel is currently killing civilians and just going full genocide mode.
Okay, so
That's,
the word Zion, because Zionism is based on the
yeah,
word Zion. The word
yeah,
Zion comes from the Torah, which is, from the Jewish book, and
yeah, yeah, of
it
course.
signifies Jerusalem, the mountains of Jerusalem. So
Hmm.
a Zionist, that's definition today. People took it and they changed it and they did whatever they want with it. But what the actual word Zionist means is that you believe that Jewish people that comes from Judea, because this is why we're called Jews, right? We're from Judea, have the right to live in their ancestral homeland where our ancestors are from. So
Hmm.
if you believe that Jewish people, just like any other indigenous group, have a right to live on our ancestral land, you're a Zionist. Now, there are Zionists that are against the Israeli government. There are Zionists that are pro the Israeli government. There are Zionists that want a
Hmm.
two-state solution with the Palestinians. There are Zionists that want a one-state solution with the Palestinians. But as long as you believe that Jewish people have the right to live in their ancestral homeland, you're a Zionist. You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist. There are actually more non-Jews that are Zionists than Jews because a lot of Christians are Zionists.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but yeah, Zionist is
yeah.
not a bad word. I'm actually a Zionist, and I would love to have a conversation with you if you want.
I mean, sure, of course, why not?
First of all,
Because
you
that's
seem very. I like your energy. I'm gonna say that. I like your energy.
thanks,
You're like
thanks.
very like I can tell you know a little bit about this. So you.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to educate myself enough. Like, I'm not American. I don't live in America. I live in Germany right
Mhm.
now. And that's the thing, because if we were to start with that conversation about like Jews and Israel and all that stuff, basically in the Torah, most Jews that
Have you
I've
ever read
spoken
the
with,
Torah?
no, the full Torah, no, of course
Okay.
not. But there is there is, I'm not 100% sure, I'm just paraphrasing it. It's basically saying that there will be something like the Messiah or someone coming back to earth and bringing the Jews their homeland. So he is going to make them a homeland, basically saying,
I'll
I'm
tell you
coming
what you're
back,
talking
I will make
about.
you, I will make you a homeland and
Hmm.
y'all can live on that.
Yeah.
And then the humans in 1946 started doing things in Palestine, and then Israel started forming, which was kind of a human movement and was not in like, it wasn't just because of Judaism, it was basically just humans that wanted a country and want power, and now it's going all out of hand.
So
That's kind of the
basically,
issue.
yeah, no, I get that. Thank you for giving me a recap. So, what you were saying at the beginning, that our Torah, our book says that we need to wait for the Messiah to go to Israel, that's actually not a Jewish belief and it's not in our book. So, this ideology comes from a group of Jews, very small group, that's called Neture Karta. I can spell it in the chat.
Okay.
Neture Karta. This tiny group, they are maybe 50 families worldwide, very small group, and they believe a version from actually not the Jewish Torah, from the Talmud, that basically says that we have to wait until the Messiah comes. When the Messiah comes, he will take us to Israel, and then everybody in the world will be our slaves. That's what they believe. Jewish people
Mm-hmm.
don't believe that actually. They are a very radical group that we don't agree with. So they think that again, when the Messiah comes, everybody's going to be our slaves. We don't believe that. We actually, in our Torah, God wants us to live in the land of Israel, and the Messiah won't come until every Jew is back in Israel. So we actually have to be living in Israel. Now, what you were talking about, the Zionist movement, that's where a lot of people are confused a little bit. Because you have Zionism as a concept, which is the belief that Jews can live in their ancestral land, right? Comes from the Torah, Zion, Jerusalem. And then you have the political Zionist movement that was started with Theodor Herzl. So Theodor Herzl, he was a Jew, but he was a secular Jew. He was an atheist. So he was Jew by his ethnicity, but he didn't practice Judaism. He saw the persecution of the Jews in Europe and the anti-Semitism that happened around Europe, and he understood that Jews needs to have their own homeland. And at first, he was thinking
Mm-hmm.
about different countries, because even though Israel or Judea is obviously the ultimate choice, it was surrounded by Muslim that back at that time also had anti-Semitism towards Jews, just like in Europe. So they were thinking
Mm-hmm.
about different countries like Argentina, Uganda, and then they ended up thinking to themselves, well, we can start a Jewish state anywhere in the world except our indigenous homeland. So he started a movement
Mm-hmm.
to bring Jews to Israel, which back then was named the British Mandate for Palestine or the Ottoman Empire in the 1880s. So the Ottoman
Mm-hmm.
Empire, there were Jews that already lived there, Muslim, Christian, and then Jews starting moving to Israel. We call it Aliyah. They started to go back to Israel from Europe and from the Middle East. They purchased land from absentee owners. They purchased land and they basically lived there before actually even establishing Israel. And then in
Mm-hmm.
1948, which you said 46, but you were very close. In 1948, there was a partition plan. In 1947, actually, there was a partition plan by the United Nations, because there was a lot of Jews that lived in the land and a lot of Muslim Arabs that lived in the land, and they didn't live in peace. The Muslim attacked the Jews attacked back, the Muslim attacked the Jews attacked back. There was not peace. So the United Nations wanted to split the land in two, half for the Jews, half for the Arabs. The Jews said yes. The Arabs said no and declared war with five armies. So, five armies fought the Jewish country, and the Jewish country won. And this is how we were able to establish Israel.
Interesting. It's very interesting that you see it like that, because I think that the whole problem about this generally is just where people get their own facts from, like where people get their knowledge from.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for example, in your eyes, your reality and your knowledge is as real and as right and as true as you see it, just for example, as someone who is like completely not even hating Israel, just hating Jews. Someone for him, like someone like him, he would think, because that's his reality, that's where his mind is trying to pull things together to form an opinion, to form something that he sees as okay, that's what I see as right. And both of you would be the same amount of I think I'm right because I know I am right than like the other person. And I think that's kind of the problem here, because generally there is two point of views to that when it comes to how the story like evolved, where one sees it the way you see it and the other see it as, well, in 1946 I think a ship arrived in Palestine with a bunch of Jews and also Zionist Jews, just a bunch of people fleeing from Europe and just from other countries, coming there, living there, and then starting the conflict because they were not there before. Then they come there, they start conflict, and they, which is called the Nakba, for example, which is also like a view how to see the story, how the story kind of evolved, where the Nakba is basically how the people there, the Zionists, the Jews that lived there, were attacking the Palestinian homes, attacking their houses, taking their houses away, taking their belongings away by just saying, you know, this land is promised to us, and then just taking away the land more and more and more with time. And that is one another way to see it. Now there is the problem. Even if I say I think it's like this or I think it's like that, it is kind of more important to look at what actually happened and what did not happen. Because even if you look at it right now, in Israel, like if we try to forget kind of the history, because I know we will have mixed opinions about that, but that's going to be hard to how do you say it? It's going to be hard to decide which thing is like what is right and what is wrong, because we're going to have different facts. But even now, today, in Israel and in Palestine, just basically that land, the people who live there and who don't have a problem to live there because of the weather and of the condition there are the Arabs who used to live there, and most Israeli people who live there right now, their skin is not supposed to be in that climate because most of the Israelis aren't actually true Israelis. They're European, they're maybe from Finland, maybe from New Zealand, whatever. They come from different regions of Earth and they basically live there. And it's when it's hard to look at like how the story formed, you could maybe look at how, okay, well, how does it look right now? Does it like look correct? Because if you try to calculate, like put things together, something else is going to come out. And that's kind of what I think, because I have no problem with people living there together. I believe that before everything started, there were Jews and Muslims and Christians, and they all lived in peace, and there wasn't that much conflict. It wasn't 100% peace, but there wasn't that much conflict. But there there's somehow started to be a conflict about who owns the land, and that now got out of hand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, thank you. And I appreciate that. And I think it's actually, you brought up really a lot of really good points. Would you mind if we'll go kind of one point at a time and we'll talk about it
Yeah,
and then
sure.
we kind of like
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
go?
sure.
Okay, perfect. So, first of all, just so I understand who you are. So I'm Jewish, I'm Israeli, I'm obviously a Zionist. Are you like what's your story just to kind of like so I understand who I'm talking to? Are you Muslim? Are you Christian? Are you Arab? Are you like, what are you?
Yeah. So I'm Arab Persian, basically,
Cool.
kind of a mix. I'm Muslim, and yeah,
Yeah,
that's where
cool.
I'm
Just
from.
so kind of I understand a little bit
Yeah, yeah,
like
sure,
where
sure.
your point of view come from. Honestly, you look kind of Hispanic. Like I would believe if you would have told me that you're
Yeah,
like Dominican or
yeah,
like something like
probably
that.
because of the hair or something. Maybe I
No,
don't
like
know.
I think like the face shape, or I get a lot people think that I'm Hispanic. So like, it's like I guess we kind of
Yeah,
look alike, Arabs and Hispanic people. Okay, cool. So
yeah.
I'm gonna start. You brought up few points. So I want to start with the Nakba. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So do you know who coined the term Nakba? Because Nakba in Arabic means disaster, right? We know that.
Mm-hmm.
But do you know who was the person who said on the event of the 1948 of the war, the Israeli Arab War, this is a Nakba? Who used that term?
Who did that?
So the name of the person that coined that term is Konstantin Zureyek, which is a Syrian intellectual. He was a Syrian intellectual, very smart guy. He didn't like Jews very much, but
Yeah.
he was basically doctor in the academy, and he was the person that coined the term Nakba, Konstantin Zureyek. He wrote a book that's called in English the meaning of disaster, or I think in Arabic is Mana el Nakba, the meaning of disaster, where in that book he described why he thinks the events of the 1948 war was a disaster. In that book, which is by the way very short, it's about 85 pages. You can read it online for free. It's a PDF that you can read for free. He doesn't describe once that the reason that the events of 1948 was a catastrophe was because the Jews came and kicked out the Arabs. He said,
Mm-hmm.
and again, he was anti Zionist, anti Semitic, Arab, Syrian intellectual. He said that the reason that those events were such a disaster is because the Arabs started the war against the Jews and told the Arab civilians, the Arab leaders, told the Arab civilians, they were very confident. They said, we are five militaries attacking Israel. A lot of them are ex dhimmis and Holocaust survivors. We will win. If you don't want to stay and fight, you can go and come back when the war is over after we killed all the Jews. A lot of Arabs listened to them. A lot of people that lived in the British Mandate of Palestine listened, took their keys, and left. But then Israel actually won the war, so they couldn't come back. So a lot of those Arabs ran away from their homes before they even saw an Israeli soldier. And the reason that Konstantin Zureyek thought that it was a disaster is because he said that the Arabs were not coordinated with one another. And because of that, because they were not coordinated, and every Arab country just wanted to expand and take more land instead of thinking how to defeat the Jews, because of that, it was a disaster for the Ummah. And this is why he called it the Nakba. Yeah, around 300,000 Palestinians were displaced during that war, but it was a war that was declared by the Arabs. And you said earlier something that I actually really liked. I'm going to have my perception of history. You're going to have your perception of history. Everybody start history in the timeline that it suits them, right? This is why Palestinians
Yeah.
will say, well, it didn't start in October 7. What about 1948? And I can say, well, it didn't start in 1948. What about Khyber? I can say, what about 1920, the Hebron massacre? What about all the massacres that happened before Israel? Everybody starts history where it suits them. So this is why it's
Mm-hmm.
important to not count on independent opinions and to actually go to third parties. So where I take my information from books that was not even written by Jews, books that are anti-Zionist books. For example, like that Konstantin Zureyek, Benny Morris, other intellectuals that are third party from the British records, the British that ruled the land, and they were definitely not pro-Jews. Not They were so not pro-Jews that the Jews literally bombed the British to get them out of the land. But I take my sources as much as I can from all sides. I don't say, well, this is Al Jazeera, so I don't listen to it. I will listen to every source and try to find the truth. And when it's come to the Nakba, the truth is that the disaster was that the Arabs started a war against the Jews and lost. That was the disaster. Is it
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate that people had to leave their home? It's unfortunate. It's sad, but that's war. A lot of Jews were displaced during the Nakba. You know, Jordan annexed the West Bank during 1948. Jordan, by the way, is a new country. Jordan was established 2 years before Israel. Jordan annexed
Mm-hmm.
the West Bank illegally, and they kicked out over 3,000 Jews. So yeah, it's sad. People
Mm-hmm.
are displaced in wars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand what you mean. That is exactly what I meant with these objective points of views, which sometimes aren't objective. But that's mostly like the problem that I had, because usually it's obviously it's not an easy topic to speak about, but the problem that I had always, because I don't really believe generally that everything that is told, like in the history books or just in general history in class or in schools or whatever, is always 100% right. Because that's the thing that I see. If you can lie on the news about something, then how easy is it to lie about the history? You know what I mean? Because the news, like, it's something that is happening right now, and you can manipulate that so people completely change up reality. And when it
That's
comes
what's
to
happening
history,
right now, by the way. That's what's happening right
with
now. Because when the
you,
Nakba was written by Constantine Zuraic, he wrote it because he loved the Ummah, and he wrote it as a letter of like, we need to do better as people. And this is like, and
hmm
today you have people that didn't even live during 1948 and are changing the meaning of the Nakba. That's exactly what you're talking about. The history is
hmm
written down objectively. That's what happened. But today you have people that are trying to rewrite it. Say, oh, it actually didn't
yeah,
happen.
yeah, exactly. That's the same argument that other people would use against you, against the like that argument, and that is the main problem. That is generally, if I talk with people about anything, if it's about whatever topic, like countries or politics or feminism or this or that, it's always a big problem when it comes to opinions, because usually the other person has their reality and you have your reality. And that's where the problem begins, because I personally believe that there were problems that obviously did make one group of people the victims and one group of people the bad people. Everyone, like, it's not colors like white and black or green and red. It's all just a different shade of gray. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So not everything is perfect, but I still think that there was no reason to come in and even establish a state, an Israeli state, in the beginning, first, when there already was a country which existed. Because
There was
the
not a
people,
Palestinian country
exactly, that's what I wanted to say, because people were saying there was no Palestinian country.
because there
There were
wasn't.
Palestine, there was a Palestinian passport, there was Palestinian money, there were Palestinian people, but just the countries said there is no Palestinian
No,
country. We don't
my
see
friend. No,
Palestine
no.
as a
Let me
country.
correct you real
And that
quick.
is,
Let me correct you real quick. There was never a Palestinian country. You can very much Google this. The
yeah.
area, the land was called Palestine, the region name. And it was the British Mandate of Palestine. Before that, it was the Ottoman Empire of Palestine. It was a lot of empires. It was never a sovereign country. The money that you're talking about, before the establishment of Israel, that money was British money. Those passports was British passports, which, by the way, if you're looking at the British Mandate of Palestine passport, it had Hebrew in it. So it was never an independent Palestinian country. In fact, the Palestinian identity was invented in 1967. The Arabs called themselves Arabs. They never called themselves Palestinians because the Palestinians during the British Mandate of Palestine were the Jews. If you Google right now the Palestinian football team 1920, before Israel was established, all of them were Jews. So the Arabs never called themselves Palestinians. The Palestinian identity
Mm-hmm.
was invented with Yasser Arafat in 1967. The flag the flag of the Palestinian people today was invented by a British man named Mark Sykes. It was not an established country. And also Israel, now that it was established in 48, that's the third time it was established. We had a Jewish state in that land twice before, and we were colonized and it was destroyed. It was colonized by the Romans, it was colonized by other empires, but Jews always lived in that land. Do you think that Jews are foreigners to that land? Do you think we just stumbled upon that land, or this is where we are from? This is why we're called Jews.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is exactly the problem I have, because this is not the story that I believe in. Because when you look at Palestine, it it's like when people don't see, when they look at this earth and they say, we don't look at that and say that's Palestine. We don't think that's Palestine. Then that does not mean that there is no country with people that are Palestinian, for example. For like, if I can give another example, if we were to live in another timeline, maybe we would sit there and we would look at black people and say, well, they're not humans. They are work animals or
No, but
whatever.
that's different
And
because it's just not factual, right? Because they are humans, but Palestinians didn't when I'm saying, you need to understand, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. When I'm saying Palestine didn't exist, I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. It was because that was the name of the land. There was not
mhm,
Palestinian people. Before the land was called Palestine, it was called Judea. The Roman Emperor Hadrian conquered Jerusalem, renamed Judea to Syria, Palestina, and then it was called Palestine. Palestine is not even a word that
mhm,
Arabs can pronounce. You know that you're Arab. You don't have P in
mhm,
your language. So Palestine doesn't mean really anything. It doesn't mean anything in Arabic. It doesn't mean anything to the actual people that live there now. Now there is an identity. Right now you have people that that's their national identity, and it's completely okay. But this is a new identity because before that they identified as Arabs.
mhm,
You know what I mean? It's not about.
mhm.
It's just factually correct. It's not something that I said. If you can bring me an example of one Arab leader, you know what? Not even Zionist proper.
Yeah, yeah.
One Arab leader before 1960 that referred to those Arabs that live right now in Israel or in Gaza as Palestinians, I'll say free Palestine with you. But none of them referred to them as Palestinians because it was not their identity back then. Back then, they were
Mhm.
Arabs. They wanted to be part of Syria.
Yeah, but that's what you believe. That is the
No,
problem,
that's what
because
they
that's,
say. That's what they say. It's not what I
yeah,
believe.
of
That's
course.
what they
Yeah, yeah,
say.
of course. But that is
Again,
the
you
point of view
prove me
that you
wrong.
have.
Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. You have a phone right now. Pull right now on your phone
Mm,
an Arab leader, an Arab scholar before 1960 that called them Palestinians. Because I can give you
yeah.
1,000 quotes of Arab leaders that say Palestine is a term that the Zionists invented. We were always part of Syria. I can give you thousands quotes like that from Arabs that are saying it. So if you can give me a
Mhm.
quote from an Arab leader that called these people Palestinians before 1960, I'm going to say free Palestine right now.
Okay, but how is it that possible then that for the past 2,000 years there was more Palestine in this area than Israel? Like, for if you, how do I say it? If I have this land right now
Mhm.
and then I die and my children live and then they have children and they have children, but those children, they're now live in freaking Thailand or something. I don't know. They were somewhere else now, and then they come back to this land where I lived and where somebody else lives right now. Or maybe it's kind of like nobody lives there, but it does belong to somebody. And then they come there and then they tell you, our great 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 grandpa had this and it's his, so it's ours now. It
It's
You
not
can't
okay.
come
You're
there.
right. I agree with you.
Yeah, you can't come there and tell anyone this land is promised to us from X years ago. Like this is our land because we used to live here.
It's
This is
kind of
our
funny because
because
that's what Muslims do. It's kind of funny because Muslims say,
it's
well, that land used to be ruled by Muslims, so it has to be a Muslim land. It's kind of what you guys are doing. Not you, but like,
yeah,
as Muslim do.
yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
but
but
they
that's
don't
not.
start coming in and killing people. That's the thing. Like they don't
What do you
start
mean?
to
The
kill the
Arab
whole country, bomb the
colonization
whole
of the
country, and
Middle
then
East? The Muslim colonized the entire Middle East?
yeah, of course. But that's just
They didn't
how
come and
normal
kill
things.
people. They didn't kill
No, but
minorities.
what I mean is that is a war that is it's like the Roman Empire and the and the this empire, the German Empire, whatever, they fight each other, and then this empire wins and all that. That is okay in a sense of when you look at it from the perspective of okay, that's how countries evolve, and then they start to do this, and then they start to do that. But you could still possibly look at it and say, well, the Muslims, it started there, and it's been a Muslim country, and it's still a Muslim country. And then the Romans came, and then they came, and that came, and they had a fight. But when you sit there, and there are people living there, you attack them, take their homes away, come
The
back
Muslims,
there.
my friend, the Muslims colonized the entire Middle East. They took minorities of indigenous people throughout the Middle East, and they took their culture, their tradition. They forced them to speak Arabic, forced them to convert to Islam. If you don't convert to Islam or you're a dhimmi, you're dead. The Muslim did that with the entire Middle East. Thousands of
Mhm,
cultures were erased by the Muslim conquest. And again, I'm not saying that two wrongs make a right. I'm not saying that, oh, because the Muslims did that in the past, it's okay if we do that, because we actually didn't do
mhm,
that. The Jews that came to Israel, first of all, Jews, there was always Jews that lived in Israel. Even when the Romans came and kicked us out, not all the Jews left. There was a lot of Jews that stayed. Cities like Jerusalem, Tiberias, Bethlehem, Hebron, like those areas, like Hebron, Safad, Tiberias, and Jerusalem, they were always majority Jewish, always throughout the years, even when we were kicked out. But yes, we were the minority because we are a small group of people. We're always going to be the minority. We will never be the majority because it's different than Muslims and Christians or Arabs. We don't assimilate, and also we're not a religion, so we can convert people and grow. We are small people, right? We only come from two people, right? But the Jews that moved to Israel, they didn't just go and said to a Palestinian man, "Move, this is my house now." No, they purchased land. And those are things that are
mhm,
documented by the Ottomans, by the British. They purchased land, and they purchased land a lot of the time by from absentee landlords. They didn't even live in those homes. They just owned them and they paid
mhm.
double the price for them. So yeah, you're right. If we actually came to Israel and said, "Well, this land is promised to me, so you should leave." You're right. Yeah, that wouldn't be okay, but that's not what happened. It's just not what happened.
And yeah, and that's exactly the problem. Because again, when you have the way, when everyone has their reality, it's always going to
You
be
expect
different.
me to believe that the Jew from Poland that right now survived persecution in Poland somehow came to Israel, a minority because it literally just came right now from Poland, and was able to tell to a Arab family, which we all know Arabs, my grandparents, they lived in Yemen for a long time. Arab families are chamulas, they're big. You want to tell me that a Polish Jew went to a family of Arabs of 30, 40 people and told them, "Leave your house, this is my house now," and they just left?
No, because they didn't do it alone. They had Americans at their back, and they had British people there. Like that's a
America didn't start
thing.
supporting Israel until the 1960s, until the Six-Day War, and even then it happened after. America didn't support Israel. They didn't give the Jews any weapons. You know who gave the Jews weapons? Czechoslovakia. And that's even, we bought weapons from them, but that was in 1948. So they didn't have weapon. The Arabs had the British. The British helped the Arabs.
Hmm.
So do you want think about it logically? Seriously, you want me to believe that a
Uh,
Polish person came, told a family of 30 Arabs,
no,
"Hey,
I
leave
do
your
because
house," and they're like, "Okay, sir, I'm gonna leave my house."
I do think about, like, I know what you mean, because in that, obviously, in that perspective, you would be right, because of course one person couldn't fight, for example, 10
But
people.
they were the
Yes,
minority. The
but
Arabs were more than the Jews.
yeah, yeah, but this is where the problem starts when
The
you
problem
look
starts
at
because it's a
perspective. That's
lie and
where
it didn't happen. That's where the problem starts. That you
exactly,
believe
but that's
that two
exactly,
Jews
but
went to 10 Arabs and they were able to
yeah,
kick them
but
out
it
of their
wasn't
house.
two Jews. It was two Jews backed up by the whole, basically by the whole planet.
What do you mean by the whole
Now it's
planet?
saying,
The
no, the whole
British
planet
didn't
was
support
against the
the
Jews.
Jews. The British didn't support the Jews. The Americans didn't support the Jews. Nobody supported the Jews back then. What do you mean backed up by the
Yeah, but
planet?
this is the
No, by the
thing,
way, sorry to
because
cut you off. Sorry to cut you off because earlier you brought up the sheep of the Jews that came from the Holocaust, right? You said the sheep came to Israel with the Jews that from the Holocaust. You know that that sheep never landed in Israel, right? You know that the Arabs told the British to not let them inside, and the British told the sheep to turn around and to go back to Europe. And every single Jew that was on that ship that you have a picture of, every single one of those Jews died in the Holocaust. So this is like, again, it's there's a lot of talking points that I hear a million times a day because I do this pretty much for a living. But this is just not true. And you can on everything you can say, well, you're gonna have your reality, I'm gonna have my own reality. But at the end of the day, there's objective truth. There is right
yeah,
and wrong. I'm taking my truth not just from Israeli sources, I'm taking them from Arab sources as well.
yeah, of course. But that's exactly the thing I was trying to say, like, multiple times, that where I see the problem is because even now, if we were to look at the Holocaust, people think about the number, for example, 6 million
Right?
Jews were
Because it was
killed.
6 million, right?
Yes. Um,
People will say it was
and
271,000 because they are uneducated and they don't understand that it's
yeah,
very easy to see the number of Jews that lived before the Holocaust and then the number of Jews that lived after the Holocaust. It was 6 million
yeah, yeah,
less, right?
yeah. That's not
Math.
what I'm trying to say.
No, I'm just saying
It's
because that's something that I
basically,
hear a lot. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, no. It's basically just when you look at the whole planet, every country that they're in, everyone that talks about history, if we go to Argentina and we go to Brazil and we go to America and we go to Canada and then we go to countries in Africa and we go to different countries in Europe and we go to different countries in Asia, everyone seems to have different numbers and everyone seems to have different facts backing it up.
On the
I'm not saying it
Holocaust?
was, yeah, on the Holocaust, on everything. I'm not saying it was 6 million. I'm not saying it was 200,000.
Well, the
I'm not saying it
Germans
was
said how many they
100,000.
killed, so I don't understand how you can have different opinions. The
Yeah,
Germans,
I'm
the
not.
actual Nazis that killed the Jews, said we killed 6 million. So the fact that people have, no, it's 5, it's 4, it's 200,000, these are stupid people that frankly I don't need to listen to. Because
Yeah,
if the Nazis said I killed 6 million and shows the archive here, this is how we killed them. It's
yeah.
like I'll tell you, do you believe 2 plus 2 is 4?
Yeah, of course, because
Can it be
mathematics is.
5
I
though?
wish everything would.
But can
I
it be
wish everything
5?
would
Can it be 5?
be as easy.
But it is as easy actually because 2 plus 2 equal 4. It's facts. Facts don't care
Yeah,
about
but I
our
wish.
emotions and about our
I
feelings.
Yeah,
There are archives. There are history archives like that are written down.
yeah,
With this logic, we can't believe anything that's happened. With this logic, how do you know that the Jews even went to Israel? How do you know that there was a Palestinian state? How do you know that the Palestinians even exist? How do you know that Israel actually bombing Gaza? Why? Because you see it on your phone? It can be a lie. With this logic, nothing is real.
yeah. Of course,
We're
but
not
exactly
real. With
that's.
this logic, we're not real. We're in the Matrix.
Yeah,
you know? Oh, you know what
that's
I mean? Like with
you're.
this logic,
Yeah,
you know,
but
it's
that's what I'm trying to say. Just like from the beginning, it is very hard to speak about a topic if people have not only different opinions, because different opinions are fine, but different truths, because different truths are based on
but there
different
is only one
texts.
truth.
They
There is only one
Yes,
truth.
that's what I believe. That's
There
what
is
I
only one
also
truth.
believe.
I can back up my truth. Again, I asked you if you can give me, and I'm not lying,
No,
if
of
you
course.
can give me
Yeah, yeah,
one Palestinian leader
of course.
before
Yes,
1960 that called
of
himself
course.
Palestinian, I will say free Palestine right now. But you
Of
won't be
course,
able to do that because it's just not true. They were Arabs, they were not Palestinians.
of course, the reason I am, I mean, there's two reasons why I'm not pulling out my phone and doing that. Because first, I'm using my phone, but second of all, I could still research it and do that and show you this and that. The reason why is basically anything and everything that you are told, you can always, not you personally, even if you take me, if I have, if I say the sky is blue, and then I tell someone, well, prove to me that the sky is red, then he shows me the picture of a sunset, for example. Well, obviously that's the sunset, and that can be right. But then he shows me the picture of the sky
No, but the
being,
sky, but that's actually incorrect because the sky are blue, and even
yeah,
in the sunsets they're still blue. It's the sun that make them look red. So
yeah,
there
that's
is
not what I'm
again
trying to say. What I'm
objective
trying
reality.
to
Also,
say,
this is a
yeah, no,
Palestinian coin.
what I'm,
This is a Palestinian coin from 1927. You see, it says Palestine in Arabic too, and also
mhm,
in Hebrew, and it says Eretz Israel, the land of Israel.
mhm,
Because Palestine was never a country, it was a region name. This is why it's also in Hebrew, and it
mhm,
says that the land of Israel in Hebrew. So,
yeah,
yeah, there's
okay.
objective truth. Are you like a conspiracy theorist? Do you believe like that the world is flat and all of that?
No, I don't believe the world is flat. I believe certain things that may be seen as conspiracy theories, but I don't think that they are conspiracy theories. I just genuinely believe that people are massively misguided when it comes to being in like one opinion, having one opinion about something, because I am okay with changing my mind about something when I believe, okay, yeah, you know what, I kind of believe it. I obviously wouldn't be changing my mind with somebody on, for example, this app, because, you know, everybody could say anything. But I do believe you with a lot of things you say. I do believe that I could research that and it would all back you up. But that's exactly the thing. I could now find, I mean, that's stupid because we both know it's not true, but I could now find pretty solid evidence that the earth might be flat. You know, I could find solid
Yeah.
evidence and it's pretty fucking, and that's the problem. I can find solid evidence that no Jews were killed during Hitler's time, and I can find
No, you actually
evidence that
can't
more
find any
than,
solid evidence of that because the
of
Nazis were
course, yeah,
very good
yeah,
at documenting it. But I will
yeah, no,
say,
that was exaggerated, but
no, no,
what I
but
mean
I,
is
I
I
get your
could
point.
find,
Yeah. You said
yeah, but
also
I could
that you
find,
believe that the Jews that live in Israel are not real Jews and they are Europeans Jews. So
I mean, the skin cancer rate is
you know
from
that
the Middle
actually
Eastern
Lebanon
countries.
has one of the highest skin cancer rate in the Middle East, far more than Israel. Lebanon.
Probably, maybe, I'm
How
not
do you
sure.
explain that?
Maybe.
How are people in Lebanon who are Arabs has high skin cancer rate? Because the Israel is actually very
Why?
low in the Middle East. So, but it's a propaganda
Mhm.
talking point because it's like they said that we are allergic to olive oil. Like there is so
No,
much
I don't believe
lies.
that.
There is so much
No,
lies that are spreaded.
I
But
don't
yeah,
believe that. I mean,
the reason they say about the skin cancer is because they try to prove that we are not from the Middle East. But the funny thing is that Lebanon has the highest skin cancer rate in the Middle East and they're Arabs. How do you explain that?
mhm. The Arabs in Lebanon, I never met them. I don't know them. I don't. If I think about a
But they
Lebanese
live in the
person, I
Middle
couldn't
East.
tell you how they
They're Middle Eastern.
look.
How do they get so much skin cancer if they're Middle Eastern?
Yeah, sure. I believe you. I'm not
Maybe because
educated
it
on
doesn't
Lebanese
matter.
people.
Maybe because it doesn't matter. Maybe because we are not stronger than the
It
sun.
does no. Yeah, no, it does matter because what I'm trying to say is the country that is basically next to Israel, which is Jordan, and well, even the Palestinian people that call themselves Palestinians,
I
they
call them
don't
Palestinians
have,
today. I don't care. They didn't call themselves like that before. But I don't mind
yeah,
calling
they
somebody
don't,
Palestinian.
yeah, yeah, okay. They don't have that high skin cancer rate. They don't. They live next door. In
How do you
Saudi
know
Arabia,
that?
it's the
How do you know
same.
that? Did you look at a map with the statistics? Because you
You
didn't know
can
that
check the
Lebanon
skin.
was. You said earlier that Israel has the highest,
No,
which you were
I
incorrect.
checked.
You were
I
incorrect.
checked the.
Lebanon is the highest. You didn't know. How do you know that
I
Palestine is not higher?
I checked what the highest skin cancer rate generally are,
Uh huh.
and I didn't like remember every single one of them, but I remembered which ones were high. For example, like Australia was pretty high. I think it's even number one,
Now I
but
actually want to
whatever.
Google it. Let me
And
see. Now I
maybe
want to
even
like take a look at it. So Turkey is number one. Lebanon is number two. Jordan is number three. Wow, still haven't got to Israel, and it's already three Arab countries. Turkey, Lebanon. I'm reading it literally from here. Turkey. So Turkey has had the highest age standardized prevalence rate ASPR in the MENA region at 3.3 cases per 100,000 population. Lebanon 2.9 cases per 100,000 population. Jordan 2.5 per 100,000 population. Iran 2.3 per 100,000 population. Those are the top four, and Israel is not even here. Why do you think people talk about Israel if it's not even in the top four?
well, I'm not very sure why this is even showing up when you look for that, because there
I
are
googled
multiple.
highest skin cancer rate in the Middle East.
Yeah, okay, but that is exactly what I was talking about, because when you,
What you were
even if
talking
you
about,
were to
I
Google,
didn't ask is Israel has a high. I didn't even mention Israel.
no,
I
no,
asked
it's
who
okay,
has
no,
the
no.
highest in the
I
Middle
mean,
East,
yeah, yeah, no.
objectively.
I mean, even if you were to, I don't know what your opinion on that is, but even if you were to ask Google how many genders there are, he would answer that, there
Yeah,
is no
but
real
come on,
answer to
it's
that.
not the same. You are very sweet, but that's not the same. There is objective and
Yeah,
there's
but
subjective. Objectively, there are two genders. Objectively, men and women,
yeah,
female and male. Subjectively, I can believe I'm a cat. It doesn't matter what I believe though. Facts don't care about my feelings. I can believe
yeah,
I am, I don't know, a little powder puff. It doesn't matter what I believe. I can be delusional and crazy in my own brain.
yeah,
Objectively, this is rates that come from science, from like medical studies that's found. So
yeah.
you're saying this is incorrect and Israel is number one and Google is a
No, I'm
Zionist
not
and it
saying
doesn't
it's
show it?
number one.
So
No,
what are
no,
you
I'm not
saying? That
saying it's
Google
number
is a
one.
Zionist so it doesn't
I
show it?
mean, don't do not try to always take my point and make it like, oh, you
No,
were
I'm
trying
just
to
trying
just
to
blindly
understand.
shoot
I'm just
shoot
telling
at
you,
them. I'm
we're not
just
even top four. And you're like, well, you see, it's what I'm talking about. It's subjective. How is that subjective? Those are medical studies. How is that
it's yeah.
subjective? Is my phone a Zionist phone? Like,
No,
what
it's
the.
not. If it were a Zionist phone, it would tell you like the whole country, the whole planet should be
I
Israeli.
can't.
No,
No, Habibi, halas, but
I
seriously, it's literally, it's not even at the top four. I still haven't even kept reading. We might not even be in the top 10. I need to finish reading it. What, like, okay, let's see. Israel doesn't, okay, even Reuters, do you know Reuters? They are this
Reuters.
website, yeah, Reuters. They're very anti-Israel, and they're like a news outlet. They're very anti-Israel. They will say that we're committing genocide, everything. They hate us, right? And even they did a fact check. Like, wait. Let me make it so you can read it. Even they did a fact check, and they found that it's a lie that Israel has one of the highest skincare. Here, you can read. Fact check.
Yeah,
Israel does not have the world's second highest skincare rate. It's literally a lie. Like it's not. We're not even in the top five. So
yeah.
this is again a talking point that was brought up to try and say they're not from the land. If they were from the land, why would they get skin cancer? This is why they even start the olive oil claim that we're allergic to olive oil. I literally had to make a video of myself drinking olive oil to show them how stupid they are. Like you're khmars, like you really think that we're allergic to olive oil. Those are stupid claims. And let me tell you this, I don't think that Palestinians shouldn't live in Israel. That's the problem. Where you try to delegitimize my existence, when you try to say you don't belong in that land, this is why you get skin cancer, this is why you can drink olive oil, this is why you're actually European, even though Hitler himself killed those Jews because they're not Europeans. You're trying to tell us that we don't belong, even though we don't tell the Palestinians they don't belong. We let them build mosques, we let them pray. We let them have the call for prayer. We let them live their life. We let them be in the government. We let them be in the military if they want to. They can volunteer. They can be with us in schools. There is no separate streets. There is no separate anything. We don't. Our identity doesn't come like with canceling the Palestinian identity. But why does it have to be you don't belong there?
But so you wait, like you think that they're even now are currently living peacefully, like the Christians and the Muslims in
Not in
Israel.
Gaza. Gaza, okay, so there's
No, I mean
separation
in
inside of
Israel, not.
Israel. Obviously, as much peace as possibly you can, because obviously you're going to have different opinions. No country is perfect, but for the most part, Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East. When I was in the IDF, I was an IDF soldier. When I was in the IDF, my
That's
commander
crazy.
my commander was Muslim. And I was in the IDF, and he actually volunteered because Muslims don't have the same obligations as Jews. So it's funny because people say discrimination. Jews have to go to the IDF. If you don't go to the IDF, you can go to jail. Muslims don't have to because we believe that they might have some conflict of interest, like fighting with another Muslim country. So a lot of Muslim they don't have to go to the IDF, but a lot of them actually volunteer because they want to protect their country. They see Israel as their homeland. And my commander was a Muslim man, and he volunteered, and he was very good at his job. So he was promoted, and he became my high commander. So yeah, I don't see Muslims as my enemy. In fact, I'm very interested in learning the Muslim culture. Literally have the Quran right here on my desk. I don't see them as my
Mhm.
enemy.
Yeah, no, that's great.
You know what I mean? But the issue is that
Mhm.
people will come and say, well, you get skin cancer. Dude, I look more Arab than half of the people that say that. I look more Arab than them. You know how many Arabs
Yeah,
talk to me and they tell me, "Min win anta?" Like they automatically think I'm Arab? I'm like, oh, I'm Jewish. Do you believe I'm Jewish? Do you believe I'm a white colonizer? They're like,
yeah.
no, you don't
Get
look like
what
a
you
white
mean.
colonizer. You know what I mean? It's just bullshit,
Mhm.
dude. You're actually, let me tell you, you're actually a really nice guy. I really appreciate you being so respectful. Were you always like very
Yeah, I
calm
try to.
minded like that? Yo, you're doing a great job. Shit. I speak to a lot of people, and a lot of
Yeah, I
them.
try to. I try even not to discuss things too much, to go it too far into things, because I still believe certain things, and then I believe usually I'm just kind of a lazy type of guy when it comes to discussions and argumentations, because I'm more passively listening than actively trying to, this and that and this and that. I do have certain points that I try to get across, obviously, but I still mostly have discussions, like if it's like this, for example, just to listen and understand what people believe, what people think, where people get their idea from, just to kind of build even more of a like a wider picture of what people think, what people believe, why people believe that, to go deeper into these things. Because
May I ask how old
even
are you?
now,
Sorry for cutting you off. May I ask how old are you?
what do you think?
I don't know because you look very young, but you're very wise. Like the way that, I don't agree with some of your opinions, which is completely fine, right?
Yeah, of course.
But I think the way you carry yourself is very, like, I spoke to people that are much older than you that are not even as
Mhm.
half as composed as you and respectful as you. I don't know, I'll say 23, 22.
I'm 19.
You're 19? You'll do great in life if this is just the level of respect that you have and like the active listening and everything. You'll do really great in life, and you're only 19. That's amazing. You're 10
Yeah,
years younger
I'm
than
trying to
me.
be.
That's amazing.
Um, that's crazy. You don't look 29
Yeah,
at
thank you. I
all.
appreciate it.
Like, that's crazy.
No, but
That's
you're
crazy.
very wise. Like seriously, if I can give you one tip, seriously, from me to you, because again, I can tell already, like you're so young and like wow, in 5, 10 years, I can't even imagine where you'll be. Always be open to. I feel like you already are open, but like try to find the actual sources, the primary sources. Never take anything that somebody tells
Mhm.
you as a fact. Everything I
Yeah,
told you
yeah.
today, please fact check me. Like, I actually
Yeah,
want
yeah,
you to
sure,
do
of
that.
course.
But seriously, the way that you carry
Yeah.
yourself, being so respectful,
No, I mean, I'm completely open about changing my mind. I mean, I changed my mind about that skin cancer thing because I believed that I didn't completely like fact check it completely because it wasn't that relevant to me.
yeah.
But I believe that the skin cancer rates are very high in Israel. I still believe that they are high,
No, they're high, but
but
they're not the highest in the Middle East.
yeah, yeah. I'm not. I also did not think that they're the highest in the Middle East, but I didn't know that countries like Jordan came after it, like before it. I mean,
Do
for
you have
example.
any
So
questions?
I
Like, Now, after we kind of spoke and everything, do you have anything that maybe like, wow, if I ever spoke to a Zionist Jew, I would want to ask that. Do you have anything like that on your mind?
It's just crazy how you said you were an IDF soldier.
You know what I did in the
That's insane.
IDF? You know what I did?
What? What?
When I was in the IDF, I was in a unit that was basically instructors for civilians. So I was a civilian instructor. So I would go to
Mm.
schools, fifth graders typically. So, they're like nine, and also to adults, but mainly with 9 year olds. And I would teach them what to do in case of emergencies. And in Israel, we have also, except, fire, earthquake, we also have emergencies that other country don't necessarily have, like terror attacks or if there are rockets. So, for example, if there is rockets that Hamas is sending from Gaza, right? Not everybody has a shelter. So I would teach the children, if you don't have a shelter in your house, how can you identify a room that can potentially be a shelter? Like, for example, if you don't have a shelter in your house, but you have three bedrooms in the house, you need to find a bedroom that has three walls that are interior, that don't have any windows. If they do have windows, you need to bend over under the window line. And then those children will teach their family. And then when there's rockets coming in, because when rockets are coming in, depend on where you live in Israel, you have all the way from 15 seconds to 90 seconds to find shelter. There's areas in Israel where you have 0 seconds if they're very close to Gaza. There are areas in Israel that have 90 seconds if they're a little further. But I would teach them what to do. Also, what to do if they're seeing somebody who seems suspicious. Because in Israel, we also have Palestinians that come from the West Bank and from Gaza and commit terror attacks, and they have suicide vests, or they go on a stabbing spree or shooting spree. So how to identify somebody that seems suspicious? So I would teach children that. And just so you know, I went to Arab villages to teach them that as well. A lot of those Arab villages, they were hostile villages, which means that from those villages, there were people that came to, inside of Jewish areas and committed terror attacks. And I would go to their schools and I would teach them. And in those schools as well, because they're young, they're like 9, they didn't speak Hebrew. They were speaking only Arabic. And when I would teach the class, I would teach them in Hebrew, and the teacher will translate to Arabic. But the teacher sometimes didn't translate it correctly because she didn't know the exact. Like, for example, there is a difference between a communal shelter, shelter inside of a house, shelter in a building. There's difference. And she didn't know. Everything I said, every time I said a shelter, she said malja, malja, malja. But there's different types of maljas. So I would literally
Mm.
sit with her and I would be like, please teach me. And then I started learning in Arabic how to teach the children malja mushtarak, malja umumi, like literally so I can specify that. And the children, they were adorable, right? And they see an IDF soldier with the uniforms. A lot of them want to hug you. They want to take pictures with you because they're thankful. Because not only I'm telling you, I'm telling them how to save their life, I'm telling them how to save their family's life. And that's what I did in the
Mm-hmm.
military. I had a great, meaningful military service. I knew I saved multiple lives. I told multiple, thousands of people how to save their own lives. So, not every person who is in the military, doesn't matter where in the world, it means that they are just going and killing people. There's a lot of
Yeah,
different
no, of
jobs in the
course not.
military,
No.
I loved my military service.
Mm.
It's
Yeah, no,
very
that sounds
useful.
awesome. I really respect that. That sounds great because like usually you see a lot of clips or videos directly from these places where certain things don't go, they kind of go out of hand. And it's kind of sad to see that, but it's generally that way. It's generally
It's
not
cherry picked
everything.
too, it's cherry picked.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I understand what you mean, but I still believe like when you look at Gaza right now, and if you look at like Israel right now, you like Palestine and Israel right now, they look completely different.
Right?
You know,
But
they
I wish Hamas had military bases. Hamas chose to not have military bases and to fight from
yeah,
within
but
civilians. So
mm,
what can you do?
yeah, yeah, I understand what you mean. that's again another thing where maybe some opinions would just kind of separate their ways. But still, it's pretty interesting what you're talking about. It's super interesting. It's funny. It's like it's so funny that I even met a person like you,
Hmm.
because usually I don't like the past Jews, Zionist Jews that I spoke with. I did not have a good time. I really hated speaking with them because that was fucking annoying. Like I couldn't start talking with them or even saying anything without hearing like "fuck Palestine," no, fuck you, fuck Arab. I'm like, come on, bro, like,
You have to
and
have mutual
I just
respect
start,
to have a conversation with somebody. Like, you can't be like
yeah,
disrespectful. If you actually want
mm,
to have a genuine conversation, and this is what I'm trying to do
mm,
here. If I wanted to just fight with people, you know, I can just fight with people. That's not the point, right? The point is actually talking to people like you, because you are an awesome person. I
mm,
can't believe you're 19, and yeah, you never probably spoke to,
thank you.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, man, that you're so young. But like,
Mm,
yeah, it's the
yeah,
point
thanks.
is that we actually listen to each other, because there is no way further without this. There's no way further. We have more
Yeah,
similarities than differences.
yeah, that's also a pretty interesting thing because usually when I look at people, I tell them like, look, all the words that you're exchanging with other humans, it's always like words are just empty capsules you throw to someone and you try try to make meaning out of that. So if I tell you something like, "Oh, you're an asshole," it's just something I throw at you, and if you catch it and if you put actual meaning in it, and you say like, "Oh my God, he said asshole, that hurts my feelings now," then you're also at fault for feeling even bad about that. But that's words. That's what I'm trying to say. Words are just the capsules that we throw around. And if we look at the actual things, like we are basically 99.9% always the same people because we're all humans. Like everything functions the same. And it's kind of sad to see that the world the way it is right now because obviously there are a bunch of different religions and politics and this and that and ways to see things, but it's also just you can't even agree on simple things nowadays, and that's the thing. And I don't even have a big problem if I'm in front of a person and someone tells me there's three genders and I say there's two genders and someone says there's like four genders. I'm pretty much okay with it if he's a nice guy. If he's a cool guy, he's okay with it. Like he can say that,
Yeah.
Just like you, if you were to say all those things, I'm cool with you. Like I would still go out and drink a coffee with you, still keep talking about all. But if there was a person that was sitting there and going, "Fuck you Arabs, fuck you Palestinian people," then I obviously also think my like, okay, come on, bro. Like, there's not any conversation going to happen, and it's sad, but what are you gonna do?
No, but
You
I
just
I
gotta,
1,000,000%
yeah,
agree with you. I think, again, it's so easy nowadays to decide like, oh no, I don't agree with you on anything. Why would I even talk to you? And that's something that I come across with, to a lot of times. I used to have a background here that had like the Israeli flag, but people would just not even talk to me. And then, unfortunately and fortunately, because the way I look, when people see me, if I don't have the flag, they'll be like, "Oh, I don't mind talking to you." And then, like, they talk to me a little bit, and then I'm from
yeah,
Israel, and now all of a sudden they're okay with talking to me a little bit, even if they don't agree. Which is kind of funny,
yeah,
but it's for the best. I do believe that we don't have to agree on everything. We don't even have to agree on 90% of the things, but we do have to agree
yeah,
on 10% that you are a human being. I am a human being. You deserve life that is peaceful, prosperous, happy, safe, and I deserve the same. And we have to agree on those basic rules. On top of
yeah,
that,
for sure.
you can say free Palestine, I can say free Palestine from Hamas. You can say X, Y, and Z, I can say X, Y, and Z. You can have your opinions, I can have my opinions. As long as my opinions are not forced on you or going against your safety or your existence, I'm cool with that. And
Yeah,
I
for sure.
spoke on this platform, dude. I spoke to Nazis before. that literally would see me
Mm,
and do the Nazi salute right away,
yeah.
and put Nazi music for me. And then at the end of it, they ask me if I'm married, and they want to get my number. Because people, at the end of the day, they're people.
Yeah.
We have more similarities than differences. We wake up in the morning, we drink water, we eat something, we go to work, we go back to sleep. It's
Yeah.
we have more similarities than differences. But anyways, you are awesome, awesome dude. Thank you so much for being respectful again. You're 19. You are wise beyond your years. I believe that if you really take the time to just do a little more, what I do all the time when I get a piece of information, I always like to see if I can find more people that are saying the same thing. I'm trying to see the primary sources, because everything about this war that happened right now, like even the amount of people that died, for
Oh,
example. Oh, sorry, I lost you for a second. Are you here? You here? Oh, I hope I didn't lose
you
you.
for a moment.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So I was just
Yeah,
saying,
now you hear me?
yeah, yeah, I can hear you. I was just
Um,
trying to say, try to
yeah, you was
to
like gone. You was like gone for 10 seconds.
Yeah, no, sorry. And now I can hear you. I was just saying, like, just
Yeah,
to
yeah,
kind of
no.
recap, I recommend that you do what I do, which I follow pro-Palestine accounts and I follow pro-Israeli accounts, because I want to see, okay, this is what they say, this is what they say, what really happened. Because your algorithm is only going to show you anti-Israel content. So this is why you're going to have
Mm,
all of that information, but you're not going to have the
yeah.
information from the other side. So because you're
Mm, of
wise,
course.
I'm not telling you be pro-Israel, like Israel, support Israel. I'm
No,
not
of
telling you
course,
that.
no. That's the thing that I'm happy about though, because I mean, I don't have that much social media. Like, I don't.
You said
Yeah.
about social media that you don't have a lot of social media, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have Instagram, which I only use for like myself uploading shit. That's it. Like, not as a in a content creation sense, just like that. But I don't have TikTok or stuff like that. And if I use, you know, social media, I use things where nothing just gets deleted. Like, for example, maybe X or YouTube or stuff like that. And I try to watch videos and clips about different opinions, not only one opinion, but what I love is obviously also just discussions. I love to listen to discussions, you know what I mean? Like all those conversations people have. And yeah, that's also a great source of knowledge because you have a professor or a person who knows a lot for this perspective and someone who knows a lot from that perspective, and they speak to each other, and that's great. So yeah, I try to do my best with not being too stupid. I mean, I'm trying to be not too foolish. It's kind of hard, but yeah,
A good
I
book I
guess.
recommend for you if you want, like, a book that has a lot of those talking points that are talked about Israel today. It's called A Case for Israel. It was written by a lawyer named Alan
Mm,
Dershowitz. And it's basically like every chapter is a claim that people are saying against Israel, and the explanation why it's not true, the proof, and the source. So it literally sources everything. And then if you don't want to read and you just want to listen to somebody, I don't know if you're on TikTok, but on TikTok, there is an account of a guy that I actually know is a friend of mine. His name is Nick Matau. He's not Jewish, he's not Israeli. Um, he's technically Mexican, but also he has some indigenous American in his family. But he is doing those live one on one conversations about Israel and Palestine. And he is very smart, and you can really learn from him if you just want to listen to somebody to this. But either
yeah,
the
interesting.
book, the book or the live will be interesting. But anyways, again, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you a lot.
Of course, thank you very much.
And I hope
Thank you
now you
for
know the
being a
not
respectful.
for
Yeah,
sure,
thank you for being a nice and
I don't have
respectful human
horns.
being.
You know what I
It's
mean?
like,
Jews don't
yeah,
have horns. I swear.
yeah.
I hide them very
We
well under my hair. Uh,
Yeah, people expect Jews to have horns nowadays, you know?
yeah, a horn and a tail, but I
Yeah,
chopped mine when I was 16. I just
yeah.
chopped them.
I by chance like had like super randomly, but I mean dates sitting here right now. It's
That's
pretty
so
fun. It's pretty
funny,
good dates.
And I'm gonna have the Quran, we're like, we're just.
You got the Quran, I got the dates. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
You actually do like do you actually do social media?
I do social media, yeah. That's a little
Yeah,
bit.
like videos. Yeah,
Yeah, I
like
do videos and
just
stuff. I do conversations with people. Um, but my style, I don't know if you know like Hamza, for example. Do you know
which
Hamza?
Hamza?
Hamza, like that do like social media creation and like talk to people on Omi TV, Israeli people, and then like cut them to make them sound bad and all that.
I'm not sure. No, I don't think
There's a
so. The
creator. His
Hamza
name is
that is.
Hamza. He's on TikTok and everything. Doesn't matter. Like I go on Omi TV to have conversations with people, and like if I have good conversation, I'll post it. But I don't edit people to look bad. I don't believe in doing that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's actually kind of fucked up. Sorry for my French.
yeah,
You
for
know what I
sure.
mean? But yeah, if somebody is coming up and doing the Nazi salute, yeah, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show who you are. You know what I mean? But yeah, and
Yeah,
most of the time, like I just like having conversations with real people. I feel like again, you're wise beyond your years. I said that multiple times.
yeah. Thank
Um,
you very much.
yeah, but that's pretty much what I do. I just try to make people understand that not everything is black or white. There's a lot of gray. There's a lot of things we will agree
Yeah.
on, a lot of things we might disagree on, which is completely
Mm-hmm.
fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing which I meant at the beginning, because that's the hardest part about it. Like, what's right, what's wrong? Where does the facts even start? And it's just, me, like with 19 years of age, it just feels so fucking hard being in this planet with so much fucking information. And it's given to me, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, now I gotta choose. Like, what the fuck
What's
do I
right?
choose?
Yes. I can't even
Yeah.
imagine what it's like to be a young person today when your phone has literally contradicting information here and left. Like here, this is the truth. No, this is the truth. No, this is the truth. And this is why I'm saying
Yeah.
like
And
history
not
books are
even, yeah.
sorry, no, go ahead.
Yeah, and no, sorry, not even only that. Even if it's frigging, you're trying to do a new diet, like, oh, maybe something against acne. Like, I don't have that much like bad acne, but I had super bad acne before, and I had to sit there and find things about that. And then people were like, okay, cut the sugars. Okay, now I'm cutting the sugars, it's not working. Now, the seed oils are bad, seed oils are evil. Cut the seed oils. Now you cut the seed oils. Oh, but now you need fibers, and now you need this, and now you need that. I can't
You should try
anymore. It's
retinol.
so
Did you
fucking
ever try
much.
retinol for the face?
Retinol, I heard a lot about that. It's I heard a lot of good about that. I usually, what I try to do is I set myself rules that I apply on everything I do, and then it's just basically easier for me.
Yeah.
For example, like diet or skincare or whatever, I try to go full natural, and it worked pretty well with me. Like, my skin got way better. Like, I had way worse skin, and then I just tried to go full natural, like with food, cutting the sugars, cutting the seed oils. And when I use something on my face, I use something maybe like aloe vera or green tea, which is insane. That
Just
helped
like
me a
what? Like
lot.
literally like with a pad?
No, like, actually, I make green tea. Then it gets cooled up, and then I used to just take it and splash it on my face and just wash my face with
Yeah.
it and let it just rest. But you can also do it with a pad. And I think that helped me so much.
Wow, because your skin looks
It's
really
insane.
good.
Like, yeah, and I think that's the best thing I tried yet, because even I had a lot of, like, on my shoulders and on my breast. On my breast, there is like nothing anymore. Completely, it's
Yeah.
completely clean. And it wasn't like that before. That came from the green tea, I believe. And also, when it comes like to all these oils, I use jojoba oil. Jojoba oil, I don't know what it's
Yeah,
called again.
jojoba, yeah.
That jojoba oil. And I tried that. It's awesome. And that's it. So I set myself self rules. The point I was trying to make, I set myself rules. Just keep it 100% natural and try it out. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it works, it works.
Yeah.
Even with my soap, like, I use Aleppo soap. Don't know if you know that.
Mm.
Like, this, it's brown. It's like brownish soap. It's just natural soap
Oh, okay.
bar, like with olive oil and stuff like that.
Look at
I
you.
think,
You're like, skincare and stuff. Your skin looks really good. It makes sense. You're doing good, yeah.
yeah, It's decent. It's okay. It's definitely it's okay. It
Green
got definitely
tea,
better.
green tea has a lot of antioxidants, so it makes sense why it would
Yeah,
be very
yeah.
helpful. It's
And it's
antibacterial.
and it's kind of a disinfectant, so it's pretty good. And now I started micro needling a little bit, like with it every 4 weeks.
Wow,
So that might help with the collagen production. Pretty good.
mashallah.
But yeah, mashallah. Exact, exact.
You're
Yeah.
awesome. Shit, if I knew about collagen production when I was 19, I would have looked even younger.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting there with like AIs and web pages open, researching about everything, like hormones and
That's amazing.
testosterone and everything, just to maximize my health.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, you look
Yeah,
really good, mashallah. No, alhamdulillah.
thank you. You look good too. Alhamdulillah. You look good too.
You're awesome.
Awesome.
Well, thank you again. Thank you so much, man. God
Yeah,
bless you.
thank you.
Seriously.
Thank you for being such a great Jew. I
Oh,
love Jews
I'm
now.
trying to be the best Jew out there, the real one, represent,
Yeah,
representing the Jewish people.
exactly.
Just
Now
so
I
you
know that.
know, most Jews are like me. Just so you know, most Jews are. We have some assholes, just like in every other,
Yeah, just
ethnicity.
like we have a lot of
We
assholes
have a lot
too.
of assholes, but majority of us, it's funny, and I'm gonna tell you this, and you might laugh. I think, you're right now 19, so maybe who knows? Maybe in 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, if you ever went to Israel, you bought a ticket, and you went there. I promise you, I promise you, you will love it so much. You will see, first of all, that everybody looks like us. Second of all, you will
Hmm.
see, obviously, there's so many Arabs, but I promise you, you will love it so much. Every single propaganda point that was maybe you believed at some point. Once you land, when you're in the airport, everything shatters. I have so many friends that used to be anti-Zionist, anti-Israel. People that I know, you might even like they're kind of big figures and in the UAE and stuff like that. And they said when I stepped a foot in Israel, everything shatters. I all of a sudden saw a hijabi walks in front of me, next to her, an Israeli Jewish woman next to her, a Muslim man next to him. Like everybody live in coexistence, and everything shatters once you actually there. So I wish that one day you actually go and you visit
Yeah,
and you see with your own
yeah. I
eyes,
mean,
and you go to
yeah. I
Al-Aqsa.
mean,
You're Muslim, you can go to
where's
Al-Aqsa, to the mosque to pray.
yeah,
You know, I wish.
yeah, definitely.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see before I die. I will see every country that is on this planet, even North Korea. Everything. I will see everything before I die.
Hopefully you're
That's a
safe.
hundred percent.
Hopefully safe in North Korea.
Hopefully
Jeez.
safe. I don't like. I heard stories like people
Shit.
going to North Korea and getting killed because of some stupid shit they did. I'm not so sure about North Korea, but
I heard
yeah,
that
I
the
want to see
average
every
height in
country.
North Korea, that like the people that live in North Korea, their average height
How much is
is
it?
significantly shorter than the average height in South Korea because they're so malnourished. So
Oh
their
yeah, that
people are
can be.
just become shorter with the years. It's like evolution of the body.
Yeah,
They're shorter.
yeah, that sounds logical. That makes sense. And there's probably not many fat people.
Yeah, no, probably not. Um, yeah, but again, God bless you, dude. What's your name? So I know your name.
God bless you. My name is Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali? Hayat.
Actually,
Seriously?
actually, yeah, seriously,
Can
it's
you?
pretty
Can you fight?
like people say Muhammad Ali. Like, did your parents watch a lot of fighting and shit? I tell them like I'm a Muslim, bro. Like,
So
what
no,
else
but
do you think?
everyone is Muhammad Ali
It's
pretty
not
much.
yeah, nowadays every second Arab is Muhammad.
That's so cool though. Muhammad Ali though.
Yeah,
Every
what's your
second Arab is
name?
a Muhammad, but not every second Arab is a Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
What was your
awesome.
name?
I'm Talia.
Talia. All right, nice
Talia,
to meet
nice to
you.
meet
That's
you.
awesome.
Habib Albi.
Is
Yalla, it
Talia?
was really
Wait,
nice. What?
is Talia is not an like a Israeli name though, right?
It
Like
is.
a
It is
Jewish
in
name,
Hebrew. Yeah, it is.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Talia?
Talia
It's
means, so the word, so Talia is basically broken. So first of all, it has a meaning like by itself, but it's broken to two words. So Tal means dew, like dew, like the rain, dew, and
mm-hmm.
Ya is two letters that represent the name of God. So I was born in April, which basically is the beginning of the spring. And the beginning of the
Mm,
spring, there is a dew, like a rain, that's kind of signifies the beginning of the spring in the early morning. So I was born at that time. So they named me a rain, like dew, rain from God. So Talia.
mm.
So that's kind of what my name means
Interesting.
in Hebrew. In Hebrew,
Interesting
most
because
names
in
have a meaning.
yeah, yeah. Interesting because in Germany we have a store that is called Thalia, like Thalia, and
Really?
it's a bookstore. Yeah.
Oh. I know
And
that
it's a
Talia
very
also
famous big
means this
bookstore.
part of the woman body, like the, how you call it, like
The Thalia,
the,
like the hips, like above
yeah,
the hips.
like the
Yeah.
not the hip, like what is this?
Yeah, like it's
The hip?
no, like the hip is kind of at the same
Girl.
height as the
Wait, now I'm gonna get crazy because I can't remember.
like the hip is at the same height as the butt, but like above that there's like
Waist,
this
waist, waist.
the waist,
The
exactly. The
waist, the
waist.
waist. So
That's why
yeah,
it's called high waist. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I waist. It's cracking
Exactly.
up.
Now we know. Well,
Oh,
good that now we both learned
now we
something.
know. Now we
Uh,
know.
now we know. Well, awesome. Thank you very much for this conversation. That was great.
Honestly, yeah. Thank you
Um,
so much. I appreciate it. I just spoke to a Nazi,
yeah,
a few people before, so you made my night so much nicer. So,
that's yeah. You made my night also way much nicer. That's great.
Yalla, ma salama.
All
Have
right.
all the luck. And seriously, I'm so happy. Like you,
Mm,
19, you're so young, you're so smart. So just keep learning, and
mhm.
I'm wishing you the best of luck, okay?
Thank you very much. I wish you the best of luck. Thank you very much. God
Thank
bless.
you. Bye.
See you. Goodbye.